Good morning. It's Friday. It's the 24th of July, and for most, it's the end of the work week. And our reading is from Acts 10 1 to 2. There was a man in Caesarea named Cornelius. He and his whole household were pious, Gentile God worshippers. Now, parenthetically, it should be noted that while the Jewish people are still God's chosen people, as well as the church. One day, of course, he will restore the nation Israel back to who it should be. But even in the Gospels, we see constantly that the ones who showed the most faith in Jesus tended to be Gentiles, even though he came to his own people. That's just an aside note. But the point to be taken here is husbands and fathers need to be the testimony to their families. Cornelius was a God-fearer. That means he worshiped in the court of the Gentiles at the temple. That meant he followed the God of Israel. But we see that he was open to recognizing who Jesus was. But it wasn't just him, it was his whole family, which meant he was not only a testimony to them, he was a leader to them. Back in the day, and I don't know if this is still the case, it was very often true that would take the kids to church and dad would stay home. And there have been studies that show that children who stay more likely to stay in the church as they become adults are those whose fathers made it obvious that it was important, that faith was important, that following Christ was important, even though they loved their mothers and their mothers were showing that by taking them. For whatever reason, maybe it's because of the way God lays things out, the father had much more and has much more influence on who they'll be as believers in the future. So if you're a dad of children that are not adults and they're still living at home, remember you have a tremendous amount of influence on your children's future spiritual walks. And that doesn't mean God has grandchildren. And that doesn't mean they can't make their own decisions, which you don't like and God isn't happy with. But what it does mean is you can be an influence for the Lord now and into the future. And I'm not saying mothers don't have an effect either. I'm just saying we know from both biblical and actual studies that dads have the strongest influence on their children's future faith. So, for all you dads out there, just keep that in mind. And I'll see you again tomorrow, Saturday, the beginning of the weekend. Bye.